Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Can't Stop Progress. I'm Mike Mantabubier. I'm back from the dead, back from my illnesses and my busy schedule. I'm here to give you the newest episode of the Progress series. We're on chapter 51 in Birmingham. We're just going to get straight into the show. As we start, as always, with Jim Smallman introducing the crowd to the show, welcoming everyone and just kicking the show off with a bit of banter in front of 1,133 people at the O2 Academy in Birmingham, so not quite a capacity crowd. The capacity for Birmingham O2 is 1,500 people, but 1,100 is similar to what we're getting at the Electric Ballroom, so nothing to complain about there really. As we go straight into our first match, where in a decent match, Travis Banks defeats James Drake in 8 minutes and 41 by pinfall with an airplane slam. Interestingly, James Drake and Travis Banks have great chemistry, showed in their performance. Drake with a 49 and Travis Banks with a 54, so good match there by those two, a 52 D+ in total. Travis Banks improving his flying skills, which is nice to see, and a very, very solid kick-off match by these two. As we go, following that, Travis Banks celebrating in the ring. TK Cooper makes his way onto the stage, confronts Travis Banks after that match. He wants a match at chapter 52 or 53, one of the upcoming chapters. He wants another match against Travis Banks, one-on-one. Loser leaves Progress. And obviously you may know what's going to happen there, but it should still be good nonetheless. And then following that one, we have a tag team number one contenders match between Mustache Mountain, Ringkampf, the London Riot and the Origin Banter Edition. And in a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, Ringkampf defeated the other teams in 11 minutes and 58 when Axel Dieter Jr. defeated James Davis by pinfall with a Regalplex. Crowd got the match hotter. Sorry, the match got the crowd hotter. Good performances there by the guys. Tyler Bate with the 52, Trent Seven with a 40, Walter with a 39, Axel Dieter Jr. with a 48, Rob Lynch with a 55, James Davis with a 47, Al Ligero with a 55, and Dave Mastiff with a 50. This match we actually, I just let the computer decide, because I just bit more. I don't really mind who the tag team number one contenders are at the moment. It's just be interesting to. They're all gonna go. If they don't beat the leaders of the new school, they will gonna go. Just seeing who gets that first. Well, not the first title shot at leaders, because they do have a title match later on tonight against Matt Riddle and Jeff Cobb, but the next contenders will now be Axel Dieter Jr. and Walter of Ringkampf. Walter improved his performance, 51 D+, decent tag team action there. As we go into our next match, a title match for the Atlas Championship, where in a match that had decent wrestling and good heat, Joe Coffey defeats Rampage Brown in 9 minutes and 42 by pinfall with a German suplex. Joe Coffey makes defence number one of his Atlas Championship, after, of course, defeating Matt Riddle at Chapter 50. So Joe Coffey with a 45 and Rampage with a 39. Not too bad for the big lads. A 46D is kind of what you'd expect from these two. Matches have to go a little bit shorter than some of the others, just due to stamina for the big guys, but we can be happy with that. In our next match, we have a women's number one contenders match between Bea Priestley, Ginny, Nixon Newell and Toni Storm. And in unfortunately a poor match, Ginny defeats Bea Priestley, Nixon Newell and Toni Storm in 8 minutes 56, when Ginny gets her revenge on Toni Storm from the women's title match by defeating her by pinfall with a middle rope X Factor. Bea Priestley with a 30, Ginny with a 40, Nixon Newell with a 38, Toni Storm unfortunately with a 29. Not as high as you would expect from a woman to the calibre of Toni Storm. She is probably one of the better women in the British scene, along with the likes of Ginny and Nixon Null. No worker improvements from that match, a 38D-. Not the best, but still not too bad, considering the state of some of the women on this game. We'll be happy with that. Ginny gets her opportunity to get revenge on Laura Di Matteo. As we go into our next segment, where we have a Wasteman challenge from the body guy Roy Johnson, and he's calling out the champion Pete Dunne, because you guys didn't see it, but before this show we had a little backstage incident. Pete Dunne antagonising Roy Johnson, tried to attack him, but Roy Johnson managed to get the better of him. Managed to get some shots in on Pete Dunne before obviously the rest of British Strong Style, the Moustache Mountain tag team, managed to come in and back him up. So Roy Johnson is coming out to the ring, he's calling out Pete Dunne. He says he might be the champion, he might have been a finalist in the UK tournament, but Roy Johnson was also in that tournament, unfortunately did get knocked out in the first round, I think to Pete Dunne if I remember correctly, but I may be mistaken there. But Roy Johnson saying he was just unlucky on that day, and the only reason that he hasn't been champion in Progress is because he hasn't had the opportunity, and he wants that opportunity next. A 34E+, not too bad. And we see that Pete Dunne does accept that challenge, and he does defeat Roy Johnson in 9 minutes 56 by pinfall with the bitter end. So Pete Dunne makes defence number 7 of his Progress Championship title. Pete Dunne unfortunately was really off his game, getting a 44 to Roy Johnson's 36. No worker improvements, but a 42D isn't too bad, considering I believe Roy Johnson is a lower mid-carder in the Progress roster at the moment. So main event versus a lower mid, you're not expecting it to be too good, but it's not bad. Not much of a difference in the ratings either, to be fair. And following that, we have our Progress Championship number 1 contenders match, where in a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, Austin Aries defeats Mark Haskins in 14 minutes and 50 seconds by submission with the last chancery. Unfortunately, I had this down as a technical match, and it was poorly placed. It wasn't the right thing to be feeding a rowdy crowd. If that wasn't a technical match, if it's just a standard or a storytelling, I think that could have got high 50s, maybe even a 60, considering the two guys involved. Austin Aries getting a 54 and Mark Haskins with a 51. Still very good for a 49D+ overall match rating. We might have to have these guys face up again at some point, just to see what we could actually get. So Austin Aries is your new number 1 contender for the Progress Championship. He will face Pete Dunne in the coming weeks. And we just have a gimmick change for Austin Aries after the poor showing of his previous one. But this change was far too soon after his last one, unfortunately. Obviously his, I think, second appearance. But it's got an initial rating of below average, which isn't great, but it's better than his previous one, so we'll take it. He might not be too happy about that, but oh well. Following that match, we have another decent match where Mark Andrews defeats Paul Robinson in 11 minutes 45 by pinfall with a Dragon Suplex. Mark Andrews just building himself up. Not had the greatest of showings so far in the series, but he's picked up a win against Robinson. In-ring performance of 43 to Robinson's 48. Robinson's also been a bit hit and miss in his few appearances so far, but he is of course backing up Will Ospreay, who is on some unbelievable form at the minute, and is actually in the next match against Pastor William Eva, so let's see what happens there. And as you might expect in a good match, Will Ospreay defeats William Eva in 14 minutes 27 by pinfall with a 630 splash. Ospreay still not suited to his gimmick, we might look to change that fairly soon, but an in-ring performance of 75, just phenomenal stuff from Will Ospreay so far in this series. He's just been amazing. William Eva with 35, which is kind of where you'd expect. I kind of hope he'd be building himself up to around 40, but he hasn't appeared much. I think this might be only his first or second appearance so far. I think his second. I think he was in a tag match with Chuck Mambo at one point. But no work improvements from that. But a 61C is not bad as a semi-main event. Following that, Ospreay just doing another one of his promos. He's beaten another fan favourite. He's got the Super Strong Style Championship opportunity. He's just waiting for the right opportunity to take it. But Will Ospreay at the moment is a very scary character indeed. And following this, we go into our main event, the tag team title match, which is very good and a decent match. I'd say it was a very good match. The leaders of the new school, Marty Scurll and Zack Sabre Jr., defeat the team of Mr. Athletic, Jeff Cobb, and Matt Riddle in 11 minutes and 42, when Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Jeff Cobb by pinfall with a Tiger Suplex, and the leaders make defense number 1 of their Progress Tag Team titles. Sabre Jr. with a 66, Marty Scurll with a 62, Riddle with a 42, and Jeff Cobb with a 35. Cobb improving his performance skills, which is nice to see, for a final match rating of 58C-, which is very good. And as we end the show, we get a 57C-, so a very nice show there, increasing our popularity in 45 regions. 57C, I think one of our better shows, maybe even our best. I can't quite remember. It has been a week or two actually since I last played this save, just through illness. I'm still not 100%. You might be able to tell in my voice. I've still got a bad like a blocked nose and a sore throat, but I've tried to get through it as quickly as possible. I didn't want to wait any longer, because I just didn't want everyone losing interest, and I just wanted to get this episode out. But I think either our best or one of our second best, maybe a really good show, basically. Increases our popularity everywhere. I think all of them have, to be honest. Maybe apart from, I think it was the second show we had, which was very poor. It was only about like a 38, I think. But definitely one of our better ones, and we're going to praise Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr. and Marty Scurll, because I think they had our best performances of everyone. Of course, I think Aries and Haskins were close, and I think some of the guys in the tag match had some very good performances as well as Travis Banks and James Drake had some surprisingly good performances as well. But those guys were happy with the speech. We'll see which of the guys were unhappy at not being on the show. But I've got a real problem at the moment of just having too many really, really good workers at the moment, and even those that aren't as maybe the best wrestlers in the company have still got storylines going on, so I can't just keep them out. The people like TK Cooper and likes of people like him. I've now got the women's title, so there's going to be 1 or 2 women's matches every show to establish title contenders, title matches, just building up some of the other women. So you're going to have a couple of those matches every now and again. Got the likes of Austin Aries has come in, is the new number 1 contender. We've got Will Ospreay continuing his path of destruction through the entire face half of the company. Robinson at his back. You got people like Mark Andrews and Mark Haskins building their way back up towards title contention. Got Joe Coffey now continuing his run with the Atlas Championship. You'll see who he's going to be facing next. And obviously, British Strong Style. British Strong Style around that championship. What's going to happen with Trent Seven and Tyler Bate? They've missed out on becoming number 1 contenders again to regain, I should say, their championship. So they're not in the tag title picture yet again at the moment. Austin Aries, not a fan of TK Cooper, but he is going soon, so that's not too much of a problem. Trent Seven could do with a rest, and we have actually just offered him a new contract because his contract was expiring soon. Not many people too upset actually, but we got a lot of people, a lot of workers. Obviously, some of them, the likes of ACH, are just Americans that we've brought in for like a couple of one-off appearances every now and again. Like Shane Strickland will be here occasionally. Leo Rush. I think there's a couple of others. Obviously, got Timothy Thatcher coming. He's part of the ring camp, and he might get the odd match every now and again, or a three-way match with the other two members of ring camp. But just another thing I just want to address quickly is certain things that have happened in real life with Progress in the most recent shows. Obviously, I've told you a few times that TK Cooper and Dahlia Black will be leaving the company on the game in real life for a few months, like they are in real life. They're having to go back to New Zealand for visa issues. But also on the last show, Axel Dieter Jr. left due to him signing with NXT. Paul Robinson has had to retire due to a blood condition, but those two will continue to be in the company for a little while longer, just because that's happened midway through the save, whereas with TK Cooper I already knew he was leaving before I started the save. So we'll continue to keep those guys around for a little while. They'll maybe leave a little bit in the future, because I mean Axel Dieter Jr. Might even get signed anyway, although his performances haven't been as good as real life. Obviously the main ones we're looking at what would be signed at the moment would be the likes of Will Ospreay, potentially on a exclusive deal in Japan, or WWE coming in for him, or even Mexico would probably be a good spot for him. You got the likes of Aries might sign for a bigger company, he's a big name. Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, Trent Seven already all in NXT. They might sign exclusive deals, and that could be a problem. But for now, we'll continue on as we are. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode, and I'll see you in the next one. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.